Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Property Done Properly in association with Century 21. I've got my good friend and colleague Mikayla Whittle over here. She's going to be discussing some business planning. Just before we start, a few things have happened in the world since our last podcast. The budget, taking in the information there, what you will. Donald Trump has got back into power at the White House over in America. And Manchester City have lost four games on the trot, which is very unheard of, but gives hope for the rest of us. So I'd like to say good morning to my good friend and colleague, Mikayla Whittle. Mikayla, just if you can just give us a brief introduction of what you currently do, where you're based, etc.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm based in Glasgow and I am a consulting partner at 2X Consulting. So one of my main roles here is I actually assist franchisees in obtaining their franchise lending and creating their business plans, cash flows, and just kind of highlighting the importance behind that.
Fantastic. And how did you get into that role?
To be honest, I kind of fell into it. I came over to Scotland. I'm originally from Canada, hence not having a Scottish accent. I came over to Scotland to do my master's in clinical psychology and just kind of fell into a role as an assistant in business and fell in love with it. And then just kind of ultimately took on the role of doing franchise lending and business plans. And I've been doing that for the last 6 years now. So I would say I'm quite an expert in this industry.
And what do you like most about Scotland?
Weather. No, honestly, the people are fantastic. There's a lot of opportunities and things over here. Growing up in a small kind of town of 5,000 people, it's nice to have the different opportunities and meet the interesting people in a bigger city.
So what do you miss about home?
This summer.
Good. Saying that, last time I was in Glasgow, it was pretty warm. I think it's up to about 25 degrees. I was pleasantly surprised. Okay, so what in your mind is the importance of business planning within, let's say, a franchise network?
I think, firstly, a business plan acts as a tool to communicate and align with the franchisor. So, what I mean by this is a business plan helps a franchisee communicate their strategic vision, goals, and operational approach to the franchisor. And not only this, but it helps build trust and clarify mutual expectations on both sides,
Yeah.
and then allows the franchisor to provide targeted support, ultimately creating a stronger and more successful partnership. And I think that's one of the most important elements of a franchisee franchisor relationship. Um, and then within a business plan, you have many different elements, and this will vary slightly depending on the business. Always really have kind of these key sections. So you'll always have an executive summary, business description, background of the directors, market analysis, marketing and sales strategy, um, an operations plan, management and organization, financial projections, and then if you're looking for lending, funding requests and investment requirements, and then risk analysis and contingency planning.
I'm glad you said risk analysis because I think my next question is how you identify the parts of your business that need to be improved or what those risks are before the final plan is created.
So, as a business owner, you will likely have an idea of what areas need improving when you do get started. However, there's a few things you can do before starting your business plan to ensure that you're evaluating and setting KPIs, which is key performance indicators for the business. So, first you can conduct a SWOT analysis on your current business, and
Yeah.
the biggest thing here is to be honest with yourself.
Yeah.
Anyone who may not know, I'll just clarify what SWOT analysis is and what it stands for. So you're highlighting the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats within your business. I also think it's good to have yourself do one of these and then maybe look at getting an employee within the business or a partner within the business, or even if your, say, husband or wife, for example, is kind of involved or knows a lot about the business to do one of these as well.
Yeah.
This way you get multiple perspectives, and also you can broaden your thinking so you're not just closed-minded on how you see the business through your eyes.
Okay. I think one of the big things is trying to get, if you work with a team, which majority of us do now, you don't want your team taking over the plan, but ultimately you need some buy-in from your team. How would you go about doing that?
So, as I've mentioned earlier, there's obviously elements where you can get your team involved, such as the SWOT analysis to help you think outside of the box and then get some insight to how others view the business. I think it's also valuable to utilize your team if there's any areas where you may not be great at. For example, creating a cash flow and balance sheet.
Right, brilliant. Okay. So if you got a successful business, say if you reviewed it in say 6 months' time and your business was going really successful, would you still have a plan? Would you redo it? Would you keep the same thing? And it's very easy when you're busy and doing very well to forget about the things that ultimately get you on that path. What would you recommend there?
I mean, really just one word, and the word's absolutely. I mean, the world changes so quickly. We've recently seen that, and business plans should be updated often as well, setting new goals, visions, and KPIs.
When would you review your plan?
You can review your business plan at any time, but if you've set monthly KPIs, I'd probably review this monthly to see if you're on track and reaching those, and then you can
Yeah,
kind of evaluate and adjust if you feel that you're not. Whereas if you've set yearly KPIs, I would review this quarterly to see if you're on track and so on and so forth. As the business becomes more established, you may begin to review this only, say, once at the end of each fiscal year.
can you change things within it? If so, when and when's the best time to do that?
Yeah, so I mean, you'll want to update your plan as the business evolves. There can be many other times you may want to make changes in your business plan as well.
Yeah,
So, to reflect changes in the market conditions, financial performance, operational challenges, new opportunities, revising your KPIs, and then incorporating feedback of both your team and consumers.
fantastic. Is there any reason why you wouldn't have a plan?
I don't ever foresee, I mean, you could probably imagine my answer would be this, but I don't ever foresee a good reason to not have a business plan. Personally, I think if you don't, then this kind of just reflects laziness and lack of direction. With that being said, many highly experienced business owners may not have a formal 25, 30-page plan with each individual section, but they will have some sort of way that they strategize the future for their business. So, for example, one of my directors would strategize their business using spidergrams on a large piece of paper. This may not have been a business plan, but it would dictate the full future of the business for 6 to 12 months on this piece of paper.
Is there a limit on how many plans you could have running at once?
Unless your business is incredibly elaborate or you're running multiple businesses, I don't necessarily see value in having more than one.
Yeah.
Business planning can be time consuming, and if you have too many plans going at the same time, it can create confusion and then overlap. However, if you do have separate businesses, I would always suggest having a separate plan for each separate business.
Okay. And you've already mentioned in regards to the plan, potentially speaking to your husband, wife, partner. Is there any other areas outside of the business that would and potentially require some support?
I mean, I think it really depends on your area of expertise. If you're completely new to business or even new to franchising, one thing that I always say to franchisees is you're purchasing a franchise. So ultimately, you're purchasing a blueprint that's been laid out by the franchisor. However, the franchisor is not there to run your business. You are the business owner. You need to run this completely yourself and you need to make the relevant adjustments and adapt to the different challenges that may arise yourself and be prepared for these. So, initially, why a lot of clients come to me is mostly for lending through the banks, but it also helps them because working with a professional who has experience can provide guidance on creating your first business plan. And then from there, you can adapt and improve the plan as the business grows.
Okay. Just a couple of questions that spring to mind. Where if I was going to write a business plan today, where could I find a template? Is there any good websites around or?
I mean, you can get kind of the basis of kind of those sections and a little bit of information that would go within those sections by using ChatGPT. However, there's lots of websites out there that you can get business plan templates. And then there's lots of experts out there as well that can provide you with different levels of expertise and different levels of support in creating your business plan with
Mhm.
different fees, of course.
And if you were applying for let's say, a bank loan, what specific information are they looking for?
So when I get a client that's looking for lending, ultimately the bank is looking for a number of different things. So a bank's looking for what is the experience of the franchisee and of the director of the business? So, do they have any existing experience running a franchise, running a business in the industry, etc.? That's not necessarily a requirement, depending on whether you're going, say, lending through a high street bank versus asset finance. So, it really depends on what route you're going down. Then they're also looking for financial contribution. So they want to see that you have, say, 50, 60, 70% of the money yourself, and then they will lend the remaining balance. Again, depending on which bank you or lender you go with, this will vary. And then they're also looking at your kind of credit history. So making sure that you don't have any CCJs or adverse credit or have done anything a little bit on the dodgy side, etc. So they want to make sure that they have the highest chance of being repaid. So
Right.
those are kind of the three key elements. And then there's lots of supporting documentation that goes along with that. And then on the other side, they want to look at the financials and the cash flow and balance sheet. So they want to see that the business is projected to be profitable and that they have the best chance of being repaid.
Now, Mikayla, I've mentioned you're a colleague of mine. You currently assist us with finding potential franchisees for our area up in the north, so anywhere sort of from Manchester northwards. You also do a number of other franchises as well, don't you? So you just list those off.
Oh God, I always miss one whenever I name them. So we have Century 21, as you mentioned. I do work with Black Sheep Coffee, Cup Bubble Tea, Patisserie Valerie, which have just recently launched their franchise arm of the business
Yeah.
for the first time in 100 years. I'm very sorry to whichever
Right.
brand I'm forgetting right now.
And it's
Pitmaster,
yeah.
the Barbecue and Smokehouse.
And is there a website where people can find out what are these various links to various franchisees?
Obviously, each individual brand has their franchise sector section on their website.
Yeah.
However, we are in the process of creating our 2X group website, so that will be live very soon.
Excellent. So people can find that. So watch this space. We'll probably put that on our Century 21 social media platforms. So brilliant. Thank you, Mikayla. It's really helpful. Gives a little insight there into business planning. And obviously, if anyone needs any more information, they can contact us on LinkedIn on our various pages. Thank you very much for taking the time to join me today.
You're very welcome, Andrew. Thanks for having me.
And I look forward to seeing you soon at our Century 21 conference.
Yes, absolutely.
Take care.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.